Hello everyone and welcome back to our Polar Parrot Fish Fry journey. Today is day 26 and today we'll be taking a look at how the color is deepening in these fry and what it might signal. So before that, let's take a quick recap of day 25 and let's see what we saw yesterday. So yesterday we saw noticeable size differences between the bold ones and the cautious ones, and what we also tried to do is we tried to pitch the two together, right? The bold leaders versus the cautious followers, and we give enough reasons why being bold is useful and why being cautious also may be helpful, especially in the wild. We also looked at early rivalries that are emerging at this particular point of time, and we saw that the parents were stepping back and giving a role to the fry to take care of themselves. Now today we'll focus on the first hints of color deepening in the fry and what they may signal. So one of the questions that we can ask is, do early color changes hint at future domination, beauty or health, or is it just random? So if suppose there's a fish that has got really good coloration, is there some message that we need to draw from that, or is it just that it has happened, it has developed good colors, or do the colors indicate? Because in the adults we see that the dark colors, or when they really bring out their colors, it shows that they are healthy and it shows that they are ready to mate. So therefore you will see when the mating season comes, their colors become very dominant. So is there something like this in the fry where you get the message that they are healthy, or they are growing, or they are happy with the conditions? Is it something like that? So that is something that we need to ask ourselves today, and we'll try to find an answer to that. So let's take a look at the fry on day 26. So they are much bigger than what they were a few days ago, which means that they are growing quickly. Their fins also are getting sharper and their movements are also stronger. Now you'll also see subtle coloration on the fry, faint kind of blues, faint stripes of black can be seen on the fry. So some fry already appear to be brighter while others are a bit paler. So it's just like seeing the first strokes of paint on a blank canvas. A masterpiece is coming, but you don't yet know the final picture. So therefore we don't know how these individual fry will look after a few months. Now what's the science of this early coloration? Well, first and foremost, we need to understand why colors begin to appear. So we see that there's something called as chromatophores. Now these are pigments which activate in the fish, and these are the ones that give the fish those bright, beautiful color. Now here we see that diet also plays a very important role in the coloration of a fish. So if you have a diet that is rich in protein, and also if you have certain diets which enhance color, for example hikari, their foods are really known to bring out the best color in fish. So if you have those kind of foods, well, you're on the right track because you're giving the fry what they require. So diet plays a very important role, and at this stage the diet should be high protein. Secondly, we see that genetics also play a very important role when it comes to coloration, when it comes to which fish gets what color and at what stage. So the genetics also play a very important role. Now in polar parrot fish, colors often deepen with age, nutrition and hierarchy. So we see that bright colors can also signal strength and confidence, but we see that paler fry might simply be slowly to develop color. So as of now we can't say that okay, the bright ones are the smart ones, are the strong ones, and the pale ones are the weak ones. No, it might be that the pale ones also are kind of a bit slow to develop color. So one of the things that immediately we learn from this is we can't immediately jump to conclusions. We can't say that, okay, the bright ones are strong and the other ones are not up to the mark. No, that is one of the beauty with fish keeping. It requires a lot of patience, and with time things get revealed to you. And just like in human adolescence, some changes happen early, others later, but both are natural. Now we'll also see that whole dichotomy between leaders versus followers, and what is the connection, or how is it related to coloration. So we see that leaders often look slightly more beautiful. Okay, so their bold feeding gives them extra nutrients, and which in turn adds to the beautiful bright colors that we have on them. So you see, in a way, being brave, being bold, being courageous does pay off, because you get to the food first, and when you get to the food first, you obviously get to pick the best part. So in that sense, yes, being bold can be linked to good bright coloration. Now followers may stay duller longer, but once again we see that in the fish world these slow ones tend to catch up later. It's just that, how you have even among humans, a person may be good at one skill, and then after some time the person tends to stagnate, whereas the others catch up. So even if you're slow, doesn't matter. So that's also something very interesting that we can learn from these fish. Even though you're slow, even though you're following at the moment, don't worry, your time will come and you will catch up to the rest. And probably the followers over here are following that kind of philosophy. We save our strength for the best, and when the time comes to push, we'll push and we'll reach the goal. Now coloration is not only linked to food, but it's also linked to stress level. So we see that calmer fry will sometimes display better colors long term. So if the fry are stressed, especially if there are, for example, in an overcrowded tank, or maybe even if there is a strong filter, in that case we see that the fry may not develop those colors because they'll be stressed, or if the water, there's too much movement in the water, or if the water conditions are not stable. So we see that the fry are very vulnerable to all these small minute changes which we may not pay attention to. So therefore, as we say, that you need to keep everything stable at this stage, because that is very important. And if you compare this with humans, it's just like in schools, some kids will dress flashily and stand out early, while others bloom quietly later. So both add richness to the group. Now what is the parent's role on day 26 and how much has it changed? Well, we see that they are mostly observers now, and if I'm not mistaken, the female is already preparing for her second batch. So that also will be very interesting, because we'll have to in a way see what to do of these fry. So where do we put them, and how do we in a way allow them to grow? So all that needs to be looked into. We'll have to figure out all those things, but that is for a kind of a later date. So basically I intend to keep them until day 30, and then maybe on day 30 put them in another enclosure, and then let's see what happens. So well, all that depends on how things proceed so far. So at the moment, the parents occasionally will step in and herd the fry. So for example, if there is any danger, or if I put my hand to clean the aquarium, they'll gather all the fry together at one place, but otherwise they leave the fry to be on their own. So the fry are managing their own business, and even they no longer are interested in the rivalry among the fry. So the parents won't go to intervene there. They'll just carry on their own work, and their presence keeps the fry reassured. They are like silent guardians. Next you have the hierarchies and the rivalries. So we see that color also sometimes will reflect hierarchy. Slightly brighter fry may dominate smaller groups. So we see that chasing and nudging is common during feeding, and therefore it's important to stress that rivalry at this stage is not cruel, it's not bad, but it's just practice for survival roles. So nature uses color not just for beauty but also for communication. It's a silent language of confidence and caution. And therefore we return back to the same question that we began with. Does early color predict the life? Well, sometimes yes, brighter fry often continue to thrive. But it's not always the case. Sometimes late bloomers often surprise with resilience and beauty. And therefore the broader message that we can all take from today is that growth is not about who shines first, but who endures with balance. So it's just like a marathon race. You don't run quickly and exhaust yourself within the first 5 kilometers. You have to run the entire 42. So therefore you conserve your energy and use it whenever needed. So these late bloomers may be doing the same thing, using their energy for a time when they will then use it and then shine with literally bright colors. So just like a quiet child in a class, later on he might be the most creative artist, or he may be an influential leader. We don't know. So therefore we need to just have patience and allow nature to take its course. So in this way we see that will help both us as well as the fish in the aquarium. So let's kind of quickly recap what we saw today on day 26. So first, hints of color deepening. We also said that leaders often tend to show early brightness, as we said that being a leader corresponds to being bold, which corresponds to getting to the food fast, which corresponds to then getting the best piece and getting the most nutrients, and that corresponds to color. So you see, everything tends to be related in one way. We also said that we should not discount the followers immediately. They may bloom later, as they are the ones who are being patient, being resilient. And as we have seen, parents are stepping further back today as independence among the fry grow. Now I have two interesting questions for you. So do you think that the brightest fry today will remain leaders, or will the late bloomers surprise us? Okay, and at what stage should we separate the fry from their parents? This is a very useful question, because it will definitely help me. The female is already getting ready for her next spawn. So earlier the better, but we are in day 26. Should I wait for day 30, or should I do it as early as tomorrow? Well, do let us know that in the comments. Now tomorrow we'll explore how group coordination develops. Do fry really start moving like a school, or do rivalries prevent unity? Okay, so today we basically saw that beauty and strength come in many timings. So early bloomers and late bloomers all are part of this colorful journey. So do join us for day 27, and till then don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And till then, happy fish keeping.